darkness deep and wide. In the forest, there is no place to hide. Strange paths. Tonight I fear that I will not survive the dying of the light.
Is The Dying of the Light, a series from the Starfall Collective. The Starfall Collective is a collaborative storytelling group using the dungeon system as a vehicle for creating rich and compelling stories in a fictional world we've been developing for a while. You can find out more about the collective, as well as the stories we're telling, at starfallcollective.com. We're back with a new episode. Let's find out who's in it. I'm Sir Robert, a father and entrepreneur, and the host of the season story. With me tonight are a few friends playing the characters in the drama. Please say your name, something about yourself if you like, and a brief description of the character you're playing, with maybe a focus on, in this particular case, your peculiar fort or whatever that you find yourself in. The characters have found themselves in a keep or a very old. They have not yet tried hard to determine how old, but they, thought about it a little bit. And it seems generally ruined and overrun and abandoned, though they encountered some wild-seeming and alien-seeming creatures recently. It's dark everywhere. They are exploring this place looking for clues to... I'll let them talk about that, but so why don't we start with you, Dwight?
I play Belvari, who is a young druid, and he is glad to be in the fort because it seems like, despite our recent combat, it's slightly less often than outside the fort. He's also interested in the wrens on the wall, wondering if there's some sort of connection to his organization, aka the Wrens.
And just as a reminder for our listening audience, this particular place has a lot of decor that has bird-type themes, and prominently featured among them are storks and wrens. A lot of the decor of the place seems to be wetland style. The land does not seem especially wet outside. It's just forest. I mean, it's Garatone's forest, but it's an interesting thing to note about it.
Yeah, and Belvari is also interested that sort of seems like this place is escaped the Iron Bell's ravenousness. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. All right. How about you, Josh?
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm a software engineer and a Bigfoot enthusiast, and I play Inkatink, the Kinku, who is a real sorcerer now, a real big boy sorcerer with big boy spell slots and even bigger boy meta magic abilities, and a new friend. Inkatink got some inspiration from his locale and realized that with all these big, dark stone towers, that surely there would be bats around. So there's now a vampire bat sitting on top of his head with his two little eyes kind of poking out amidst the pinions of his head, and his little hook hands caught into some of the scales that are beginning to grow at the edge of Inkatink's beak. So he, having found his focus, a circlet that he keeps kind of around his wrist like a bangle, and then he kind of flips it forward and grabs it when he casts his spells. Now that he is empowered, his mind is pretty well focused on trying to explore for clues so they can find Nino and company and try to come to their salvation, or at least get in a lot of trouble so that Nino can save them.
As bats, when they roost, hang upside down. So is Inkatink seeing the world upside down?
No, it's testing.
Ah.
Very active. I mean, maybe. I don't know how Kenku normally process.
Wouldn't
Okay,
you like to
great.
know?
Pat?
Yeah, my name is Pat. I'm playing the half-orc druid Toll, who is, I think, growing worried at how long this whole thing is taking. And he's not in a hurry to leave because he doesn't know where the other half of the party is, but we've been in here, almost a full day at this point.
Yeah.
And we haven't found any sign of them, which is worrisome.
Mm-hmm. Or any way down.
Is that a
Right.
question? I didn't hear that.
Well, yeah, because they disappeared while working on underground hydraulics, and so presumably they've been swept, along with gravity, forward and down, but presumably not up. So we do need to get some sort of crack in the earth, or a really sick basement, or some sort of
Basement.
bat
Dungeon.
pole going down. Yeah, dungeon. So
All right. Yeah, and Belvar was just agreeing with you, Joel.
Gotcha.
Okay, and Matt?
Hello, I'm Matthew Talamini. I'm a writer and web developer based in Providence, Rhode Island, and you can find my stuff at MatthewTalamini.com. That's Matthew Talamini, TALAMINI.com. Diamondback is definitely curious about the archaeological aspect of the current dungeon, but he does recognize that this is a pretty dangerous place to be, and he's not enjoying the darkness a whole lot. So he would like to find Yoshka and the others.
All right. Let's get into it. Previously, the party found themselves in this darkness inside of a fortress or keep or something. It's opulent in some ways. It has well-decorated stone. They're unable to see anything unless they're holding their torch, except that Inkatink can see basically the surfaces of things with the blind sight that his bat has. This does not allow him to see much detail. For example, he's not going to be getting a good sense of the carvings or anything like that. He's going to know there's a wall, there's the floor, there's a big bunch of ivy flowing into this window, or some big shape that he can assume is ivy.
Also, silence would probably make him blind, right?
Complete silence, yeah. If it was this like the silent spell. Yeah, exactly. So he's keeping, I guess he's keeping pretty close. He'd gone to explore up one of the towers of this center building. It has two mostly intact towers, one partially destroyed tower. And when he got partway up, he realized there were some terrifying creatures of some kind. Not able to see them at all, he ran back down the stairwell, the spiraling staircase. back to you guys. It turned out to be two of, for D&D enthusiasts, two quaggoth, which are these just sort of vicious, hairy, not quite, maybe smarter than apes, but not quite as smart as humans. One of them could cast spells, so that level of intelligence. The party was able to make pretty short work of them. They put a lot of power and energy into those quaggoth, but into defeating them, and doing so, Matt Diamondback animated one of them and has that one to command. So the party of the party of four, these three and party of four plus the unicorn, 5, and now this zombie creature makes 6.
You and me
True.
and the unicorn and the zombie make 6.
That's right.
That old common folk hero song.
So we pick up with you in the antechamber at the bottom, this sort of oblong, stretched ovoid shape antechamber at the bottom that connects both to the main kind of throne room looking area in the back and also to this tower on the right hand side.
And it is peaceful currently.
Yeah, there's nothing. It has returned to very quiet. And what I say when I say that is most of the roof of this place is completely gone. The roof above you is stone because you're in like a closed part that has layers above it for this tower. The roof above you is stone. So where you are, it's actually really quiet. You don't hear the forest. You don't hear anything out. But if you go into the main chamber, for example, it's still very quiet because of the stone walls, but there's no ceiling. So you can hear, the rustling of leaves far, far above 60, 80 feet.
So now that
before he goes over to Inkatink and says, "Hey, do you have any more components for that
Find familiar
spell in your pouch there?"
let me see. Yeah, I do. Does anybody else want a little friend? It's unfortunately the ones that I have left. One of them has a level 7 spell slot ability on it. But let me see.
The question is, do we have an hour?
Yeah. You don't. Total asks, but do we have an hour to do it? That's a fuzzy thing we've done so far. I haven't specifically required that necessarily, but Inkatink's did, so we'll keep it for consistency. It just hadn't come up specifically before. The other thing is, no, it doesn't cost you more because it's a level 7. It has a level 7 spell. You would just lose the level 7 spell.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Right.
Do you need that component?
We're never going to get the
Yeah,
8
so it's fine.
other components. So 6 other components that we'll need to cast that level 7 spell.
7 other.
7 other.
Yep.
Okay. And Inkatink, just for my and listening audience, I guess, whatever, you're a sorcerer, right? That's your D&D
That's
class.
correct.
Okay. And your spell list is set now, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, do we want to finish exploring this tower, or?
Yes.
Especially now that those Quagoth are gone.
We should explore downwards as far as possible.
This is a lovely tower. Recently, the neighborhood has improved greatly. All the Quagoths have moved out. I think you're going to be very pleased. Inkatink is doing a property management. Sorry.
So, Matt, Diamondback, let's say, but Matt, so far you have not seen any obvious way to go down to some other place. How would you like to do right now? You say you want to look for that, but tell me.
Yeah, so what I'd like to do is just go around the perimeter of the room, looking down So, are there any grates, like drainage grates, or kobold burrow holes, or just anything that seems to go down? Just one time around the perimeter with the whole team holding on to the torch together, just to look.
You mean like
Is
the
my
big main
suggestion.
room, or this oblong, smaller antechamber that you're in,
Both.
or the whole building?
First, the one we're
Yeah,
currently in, and then the big one.
Okay, you can right hand
And-
rule or something around the whole building. That's fine with me.
Would it be
Yeah.
possible to have my familiar fly around and help and provide the help action?
It's not going to be more help than 4 of you who can actually see.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yep. So
Um,
let's get her done.
And then,
Maybe
so
we could send the familiar off to search the other antechamber, just like ping all the
Well,
corners.
blind sight based on sound might reveal false walls and hollow tunnels better than
yeah, you know what?
mere visual
open.
sight would.
I'm open to that. Let me look at blind sight real quickly. One sec. Just
I think
want
that
to
I
see
don't
what
think
it
there's a rule to cover what I just said, Sir Robert. I think that's was just up to your
is. No, I
discretion.
assume not, but I want to understand how it works, and then I'll be able to know what the constraints are, and then here we go. Here it is. Blind sight. A monster with blind sight can perceive its surrounding without relying on sight with a specific radius. Creatures without eyes, such as grimlocks and grey oozes, typically have this special sense, as do creatures with echolocation heightened senses, such as bats and true dragons. If a monster is naturally blind, it has a parenthetical note to this effect, indicating that the radius of blind sight defines the maximum range of its perception. Okay, sounds good. Then I was just making sure it didn't have anything that seemed restrictive. Yeah, I'm cool with that. We can use the bat and gain some additional ability there. What I'll do then is you can either the best odds of this are going to be you're each rolling your own investigation check. You can do something with help, but I would let the bat roll one. Y'all are looking hard for something very specific in a very closed space, so it's not going to be like hard to find if you're trying.
Well, the best chance is for somebody to give me the help action because I have a +6 to investigate.
Yeah.
And then the person with the next highest also gets the help action from some other person.
That works for me.
Yeah, I also give guidance to the 2 pairs.
And so Dwight says Belvari is giving guidance, so an extra D4.
Nice.
So I just want to remind everybody the landscape you're in, since you can't actually see it. You're in Garatone. That's the nature of this place. It's dark everywhere, so you have to hold the torch or use the blind side of the creature. And you're in a walled, and inside of that, you're in what appears to be a sort of garrison or keep. So there are other small ruined buildings around it, and some that are no longer buildings; they've completely decayed. And then you're in the main section. Okay, I'm just letting everybody get a sense of the scale.
And this seemed like
Great.
an important building. So this
Yeah,
is a good
it's
one for
clearly-
us to if there's going to be a passage to some dungeons or underground catacombs, it seems pretty likely that it's going to be here. It's not going to be connected to some hovel.
Yeah,
Right. That's true.
it is clearly excuse me, clearly defined what you need to do. Go ahead and roll investigation checks. The 2 of you who are going to do it with help and with blessing.
Guidance.
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 Yeah.
And then also the back can roll a d20 that's just flat with no extra investigation.
I've got a
Here-
+4. Should I be the second one?
Yeah, that's better than me.
And you'll add a D4 to it as well. Yeah. And I've got guidance as a cantrip, so I'm going to give my bat guidance as well.
Do all of us
right.
have guidance? I thought only me or Matthew had it.
It's a cantrip for Dwight, so Belvari can just spam that around.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I got a pretty good roll here. 18 on the die +6 for investigation +4, so a total of 28.
Wow.
to ascertain if there are any passages leading down.
Does help just give me advantage?
Yeah.
And guidance gives you a +4. So the bat rolled a 20 and got a +3 on guidance from Inkatink. So the bat got a 23.
Our focus.
Toll also got a 23.
Wow.
We're all passing around the Adderall jar.
Hope you weren't trying to hide anything from us in here.
We know everything about this building. Just show us the map.
That's right. So first, I would like for each of you, Josh, you're looking at the bat's senses, right? You're looking through the bat.
Yes. Yes.
You tell me what you're looking for, and I just want to understand what you're saying. Matt, you tell me what Diamondback's looking for. Pat, you tell me what Toll's looking for. Go, and then I'll tell you what you find.
So Inkatink is looking for any kind of opening on the other side of a wall or the other side of the floor, anywhere where the bat's, echolocation, where he can sense a void on the other side of the wall, or there's a crack and the sound is coming in and out of the crack or something like that. He's looking for an empty space where we haven't yet
Secret
detected
passive
one.
type of deal or hidden room.
Or a vent or a shaft, that kind of those kinds of things. Yeah.
Okay. And Pat?
I think Toll is gonna see if the bird insignias have any kind of logic to them, and that they're pointing toward or away from anything in particular.
Okay. And then Matt?
So Diamondback is particularly interested in moving downward. There's something about the construction. It's my neighborhood. I've got the windows open.
I thought it was my refrigerator.
Nope, it's cars. Diamondback knows, because of the fact that his friends are underground somewhere in this area, that there is some kind of underground passages or structures somewhere, and he is trying to figure out how to get there. And what he's doing is going around this structure, looking at walls, looking at floors, trying to figure it out. Are there sewers? Are there secret passages to escape? Is there a vault? Are there dungeons? Is there a prison? Anything like that he's looking for. Are there rat holes? Okay. 28. 28 is heroic.
It's a very good roll. All right, Matt, we'll do with you last. I'll go in the order I just said. Inkatink, your bat is flying around, and it's flying, right? You set it off and you kind of focus on its senses?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm allowing it to move around freely. Yeah.
Yeah. And going around, you actually do find a place in a wall where there appear to be small holes, vent, airflow near the top of the wall, indicating space behind it. It is behind the main chamber and between the two sort of ovoid antechambers.
Okay. Do you want me to react to that, or do you want to tell everybody what? Okay. I think.
Or we can also tell everybody what we found when I tell you, and then investigate, pick in order. Sorry, hold on. There's some kid. All right, I think they stopped. Sorry. Go ahead. Which would you prefer? Tell everybody and then figure out order of operations?
Yeah, tell everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you'll do your investigations, then come together and discuss. Pat, you are really studying these inscriptions and these things. One thing with a 23 you had, right? One thing really strikes you about this. You have this sudden moment. Let's call it insight or something ish, where you realize that the depictions all over the wall seem to depict the kind of place you're in. the people who are here, or some kind of life and whatever. There are some strange symbols that some parts of the pictures don't resemble things you're aware of. You don't know what they mean. Are they weird magical creatures? Sorry, hold on one second.
And keep in mind, guys, I still have comprehend languages running. It's presumably been less than an hour since all this went down. So
Pat, you see, you just notice that you do recognize like vines and sort of stylized people and maybe some random animals like a strangely drawn bear or whatever. But there are also some things you don't recognize. I'm happy when we talk about this coming back for you to investigate further, and I can describe some of that to you whichever I'll prefer. Also, Pat, the other thing that really strikes you significantly here is that the terrain of this area is very obviously depicted as marsh.
I'm guessing most of what we've been walking through has been like hard soil.
Not hard, but certainly soil. There has been, so you know how it is with the forest, right? The leaves fall, they decay, new leaves or whatever. But it's kind of like all of Garatone has been, moist earth that you are walking through, not like packed by lots of people walking on it, but it's been like Garatone. However, the depictions here are very clearly that this place, or at least what it's depicting, is marsh-like. Diamondback, Matt.
Here I am.
Looking all around, you find a couple of places where there appear to be, let's call them outlets, like pipe or something. But to the best of your ability to tell, they go at almost horizontally just outside, as though if there were any, let's say there was water to get out of here or something spilled, this kind of thing, it would be just going out of the place and off the foundation of this building. You'll remember you went up about a handful of stairs to get into this. So this place appears to have had a significant like stone foundation, like brick or worked stone foundation that it's built on. You don't see anything that indicates basement, dungeon, low, nor for that matter anything that seems to indicate significant sewer or sewage types of situation.
Okay.
And by the way, and Matt, Diamondback is very sure, like you've seen everything. So just to tell our entire audience. Okay, so talk amongst yourselves.
We meet back up. What'd you find?
yeah, so presumably I've been walking around with Diamondback and or whoever is holding onto the torch. So at some point
If you're
during
using
that,
your bat
Go ahead.
senses, you're going to probably not because you're.
oh, I'm just
behind it.
walking around with them because the bats fly.
Okay, so you're just with. Oops. Well, oh, that's Josh frozen. Okay.
Looks like Josh
he's-
is froze.
Am
So
I
you're
back?
not
Josh?
using the bat senses, Josh.
Okay. The bat's
Is that right?
The
You're
bat's
not
doing
using-
its own thing, and Inkatink is standing there, allowing the bat to look around and fly around. It's looking around. The bat rolled that 20.
Okay.
So the
you're-
bat.
in that case, Josh, what you know is you have a general sense it's able to convey because it's a super low intelligence creature, but
Sure.
a little telepathic bond. You have a general sense that there's something funny here.
Right. So he's got it. So he takes on the bat senses and goes and checks out what the bat found in terms of a space behind, and he pulls over some debris, clambers up, and starts sticking his fingers back behind the little slit, starts sniffing the air. Can I make an investigation check to see if the air coming out smells any different? You're muted. You're muted.
Sir Robert.
Sorry. Do you want to talk to the others about what you're doing, or do you just go off in the
I
dark?
think, yeah, he made a little whistle to everybody to call everybody to where he's at. I think in order for me,
narrate all those interactions, so we know what you're doing.
yeah. So Inkatink whistles and calls to everybody, and they come into the room to find him, with his fingers stuck up in a little crack, right? So he calls for everybody to come in.
What have you found, friend?
He says, "Opening. There's a crack." And he starts sticking his fingers back into it and starts sniffing the air to see if it smells any different discernibly.
It has a sort of crisp and dank smell that is closed in space that has been for a while. There's a little odor of it. It's not this that's exposed to the forest.
Right. Okay.
Go ahead.
Can I kind of pull at it with mold earth?
Mold earth will not let you do that with stone.
Yeah, all I can do is make it difficult.
Yeah, you can rough it up a little. But
Does anyone still have any mold stone or shape stone cantrips? I know we found a bunch of them back in the day.
Shape stone is
shape stone. Did we use them all up?
level 5 or something.
it's a high level spell, not a cantrip.
Oh, we only ever had
Shape
mold
stone.
earth, right? Okay, gotcha. Okay, so we need to start trying to work our way in here. Does anybody have an implement? Yeah, that's true. I guess a shillelagh's a magic item.
It's a quarterstaff.
Dwight is able. These holes 1 inch or 2 wide. They're not hidden exactly, but they're not obvious, and they're a good 8 feet off. They're near partway up, so they're not where somebody would normally see them, and they are clearly partially decorative and partially functional. Belvari pushes his quarterstaff in, and it's firm enough that you could lift. It's not wiggling loose or anything.
Belvari, can you turn into a rat or something and crawl in there?
Yeah, how big are the holes?
Inch or 2, a couple inches. You could probably get the kind of creature that you have a component for.
Yeah.
Why not just send the bat in there?
That's true. I could send the bat in.
Can you send your bat in to examine what may be on the other side?
Yeah, Inkatink holds the bat in front of him and seems to have a little kind of head tilting conversation, and the bat's ears wiggle at him, and he lifts the bat up and places him on the crack and sends the bat down to try to crawl down. Presumably bats are good at.
Yeah, the bat is able to the kind of perch on the edge of it. This is a really small hole, right? It's not super small, but it's 2 inches, right? So if you fold his wings and get him up, you could kind of squeeze him in, but then you'd have to push him through with Belvari's quarterstaff or something.
Gotcha. So
this
you
is
can't
not
really
a
crawl
down
Gotcha.
6 inches wide.
Okay.
I'm okay with that, by the way. That's what you would have to do.
No, I don't think Inkatink really wants to do that to his new friend. Inkatink kind of looks up at Belvari and kind of shakes his head, nice idea, but that's not going to work.
Something like a rat could crawl through. Something a bat's not really a crawler.
Sure.
I used to have the power to transform into or to make my staff turn into a fairly small snake, but I don't have that power anymore. Wait, I could turn into a small snake. I don't have to turn into the giant coral snake, right, Sir Robert?
'Tis true.
But the giant coral snake is so much better for combat. I don't want to burn my one. Okay, I'll say to the other group my friends, I have the power to transform myself into a creature small enough to investigate this space myself. However, it is the kind of spell that I can only perform once in a day. And if you remember the very large coral snake, which I used, whose form I borrowed in order to help us in combat earlier, I would not be able to do that anymore today. It's quite useful for fighting. So I'm willing, but it'll consume an important resource.
Belvari and I can both transform into animals.
Ah, much better then. Become a small snake and go and look, or a mouse.
But definitely a snake. They are far superior to all other animals.
Snakes are great. There are even winged snakes. You could be a winged snake. Fly in there.
True.
There's snakes
does
with
anyone
legs
have-
called centipedes.
Anyone have a centipede chunk in their?
Any kind of component from a centipede? Belvari asks. A rat
Uh,
bone, Belvari says, would be blind. because
I have a piece of scorpion. So scorpion's got little hooked. Oh no, I've got centipede right here. Look at that. Split shelled centipede. So Inkatink hands you a piece of split shelled centipede. And
Joel, do you wanna
decrementing.
take a look?
Actually, do you want to just take four? Take four of them. I'll put them in the party shared components, and you can grab it from there.
I've got a adder fang, which is a snake.
Or do adders have blind sight?
I don't think an adder is in the monster manual.
Actually,
We would have to ask the dungeon master what the equivalent in the monster manual would be.
I mean, I think all snakes have a kind of blind sight, right? And
yeah,
that
they
they
have a little tongue flicky.
Yeah, snakes. Yeah, so it would. I mean, I would guess it would be a poisonous snake, because an adder is a poisonous snake,
And
which is in
adders
the
are
basic
pit-
rules.
adders are in the pit viper family, so they also have infrared vision.
Well,
And
I
this
also
is-
have a lizard part, which would probably be less useful for combat and probably also still have blind sight. Although I don't know.
I'm game for a lizard to have something like that. Lizards would also have an advantage over snakes that they can climb on the walls.
Okay, well,
They
I
could
do
have
have
like
pieces
their
of silky-tailed. I have the skin of silky-tailed lizards, so I could transform into a lizard.
Legless, yeah, legged snakes. Snakes with legs and lizards without legs. It's weird.
That is weird.
Mass hysteria.
So I'm happy with whatever y'all want to
Yeah.
do with those. And those kinds of creatures like lizards and I'm going to just say, yeah, sure, you have a kind of lizard that can, sense of those things.
Go in the hole because your name rhymes.
Sure. Toll will consume silky-tailed lizard skin, which I'm sure is delicious, and use wild shape.
Great.
Oh man, you eat your components?
I don't know. I just kind of assumed that you would have to for wild shape. I don't know. That just makes sense to me.
Belvari's just like, no, man, no.
Belvari snorts a powder.
He is half orc,
That's right.
so of all the ways to do it, that seems perhaps the most orcish.
So
I can-
yeah, Toll. There's this is not completely alien to them, although they probably haven't specifically watched you do it before. But your form kind of hunches over and starts folding, and within a few seconds, you are a half-sized Toll transforming to lizard, and a few seconds more, you are a small little lizard here. You're aware of them, these towering giants at whose feet you now stand. You're aware of them in a sort of basic shape sense, but you do not see anymore because you're no longer touching this. What do you call it? torch with the circle of the night watch on it. You can make your way, because you were paying attention, you can make your way pretty easily to the hole. You ready to do that?
Sure.
Climb up, roll, and scamper through the hole. It's about 8 feet off the ground. You lizard your way up, and then scamper through. It is not a challenge for you. You're a few inches long and an inch wide or something. On the inside, you are climbing the walls, and you have the ability to sense within several feet of you. Walking around on the wall, you find that you are near the ceiling when you come in at 8 feet. So even though the bigger chamber had a taller ceiling, this smaller chamber has about an 8-foot ceiling of stone. It appears to be just a small room. It doesn't, from your ability to sense what's there. However, it has some rubble in it. And at one part on this side, with your Tollish sensibilities, seems as though it's a door that on the other side is completely concealed.
This door leads to where I just came from?
Yeah, leads back to these guys.
Okay, interesting. And that's the only door that I see.
It's the only one you've noticed.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll keep looking, I guess.
You kind of check, but if it's like an investigation or something, it'll be with disadvantage because you can't see. You're aware of like shapes, but not more than that.
Is the door visibly blocked or locked?
No, it just isn't. It's concealed from the outside and kind of obvious from this side.
Okay, I'll turn back into Toll and try to open it.
And you do so. You turn back into Toll. Roll me a strength check.
Bold
Just a regular
move,
roll.
Cotton. Let's see how it pays out for him.
It was an 18.
Okay. As you turn back from the lizard into, like I said, there's rubble on the floor. The footing is uneven, and the rubble that is on the floor is not fallen stone or anything. It's who knows what. You're completely blind to it, but it's like things that are kickable. You manage to
Skulls.
feel your way to the door, and feeling all around the edges of the door, there's a part where there's a latch or lever or something similar, and you pull on it and it doesn't move, but you really grab it hard with both hands and kind of put your weight into it. And with an 18 strength check, you're able to like make it grind and click and eventually chunk. And the door, you seem to have loosed something. Putting your shoulder to it. Say it again.
He broke it.
Yeah. No, you didn't. The lever's still intact. But putting your shoulder to it, you start pushing, and there is a kind of scraping of stone on stone as it very slowly swings a little bit, and it seems to reach maximum aperture, having opened about 2 feet. So it's not something where people would freely walk in and out. It appears to be a chamber off, a door off this main chamber. Who knows what it's for, but it opens a little bit for somebody to get in and then close.
And this is the throne room chamber.
Yeah, the chamber that you all are in is the main throne room
Is it kind
chamber.
of behind the
It's
throne
about
room?
from front to back. The throne is at the back. The little Diaz kind of throne is at the back. Maybe 15 feet forward of that and on one of the walls. So it's not like secret hidden behind anything.
Didn't look like a door.
It just didn't look like a door. It's decorated without that. It is now open, and the others can see you come out. You don't see them, but yeah, there you are.
I'll move the torch over to his
Okay.
hand.
You would all be able to get Toll. Looking back, your hand is on the torch. You reach out for it. I'm going to narrate. Feel free to disagree. You look and you turn your head back in. The chamber that you were in is about 8 feet wide, and you're guessing about twice that, maybe 15, maybe 20 feet long. So it runs along this the main chamber, in parallel to it. You're able to see that now you can see there is rubble. There is what is clearly a certain amount of extraordinarily old, partially disintegrated furniture. You can tell that because it still has some structure. It's nothing fancy. Looks like a table, a little or chest of some kind, cabinet of some kind, a few other implements of metal on the floor. You can't tell further at this moment. You're the
Does
only
it,
in the door.
is this not wide enough for us to squeeze through, or can we go like one single file if we suck
Yeah,
at our
you can go
bellies?
single file. You
Okay.
can go single file and get in. I'm just describing what you saw when you glanced back.
Gotcha.
Maybe Igatink should go first since he has some amount of ability than somebody with the torch, and then the rest of us can kind of
That's
conga
true.
line behind them.
The
Boy, you're
unicorn-
really. I was gonna say you're really good at volunteering people tonight, Dwight.
Yeah, I gotta do
You
what
just
gotta
got
do.
voluntold, Josh.
Just got forcefully promoted.
The unicorn will have to stay out. Too narrow. This kind of 2-foot opening is too narrow for it to go through. It does not seem to mind. It's
Hang out here, I say, as if it can understand me,
it says.
as if I can understand it.
That's right.
Hey, language. This is a family podcast. Okay.
Okay. You want to go in single file?
Me first.
Okay.
Let's go in. I go last. I'm the wizard.
Okay, you can't see.
Inkatink, you put your hands on the wall, each of you, and you line up against the wall in go-in order. Inkatink, you slide in first and give whatever signal you have to the next person. Then you move in uneventfully. When you get in, you all hold the torch again and are able to look around.
Oh, I thought we were gonna be like that for a while.
Oh no, it's just right inside the door.
Gotcha.
The door is, by the way, it would be difficult to close. Like I said, there's just scraping. It's clearly not been opened in a long time, and there's been different things, decay of different things and ruin. Inside you see some piles of rubble that were at some point wooden. Things here are better preserved than out there because there presumably they have not been rained on or anything like that. It's not anything amazingly fancy. However, like I said, there's a table, there's a couple of implements, there's a little kind of cabinet and some other stuff there.
Implements. Inkatink places a hand on Belvari's chest and kind of pushes him backwards gently towards the opening they just came from, and just kind of walks over towards the implements.
Towards the various stuff on the floor.
The implements. He'd like to make an investigation check to check out the implements.
Yeah, roll me an investigation check.
Okay.
Diamondback will help.
Yeah, so you can do it with
Investigate.
help and guidance.
That's 14 plus 1, 15.
All right. These various things you see on the floor are so you're over there with the torch, right? You're looking there, and I'm assuming everybody's lowered it and is letting you look closely, handled
Sure.
it. Basically, they're normal-looking things. There are some plates and spoons and other kinds of things like that. The biggest curiosity about them is that several of them are made of metal, which is weird.
Wild.
Plates and spoons.
Yeah.
And other things like that. There are also a couple of knives. That's things of note to you would be there are like what you're guessing are also food type knives, but again, with some metal or wood, like handle or something. Other little implements are there's just some little tools that you don't know exactly what they're for, but they clearly are hand tools of some kind that would be used for whatever, sweeping something or poking something.
Metal broom.
Yeah, just random things.
Okay. I think Inkatink shows them to everybody. You said that there were tools and implements, but there was also rubble. Can we try to clear the rubble?
There's a table. There's a table of a couple of feet wide and like 4 feet wide, 2 feet deep, against one wall. None of this has been touched in forever, right? Like a long, long time.
Is this a torture chamber?
It does not give you that impression. It gives you. Roll me an insight check. Is insight the right thing for that? To see like kind of what this would be used for?
Sure.
I'm gonna say
No, if there aren't any people around, insight is not the correct.
yeah, insight wisdom. Roll me a nature check. How about that? What's the nature of this place?
All right. 18.
Okay. This clearly, to you, Toll, it has the impression of somebody who sits in waiting until the king needs something in that other room, and it's just like a servant's place where they could fix stuff or wait till they've called or something like that.
Taste the wine, see if it's poisoned.
Yeah.
Inkatink would like to take the broom handle and begin tapping on the floor to see if any of the stones of the floor have a different sound to it.
Diamondback takes the metal implements
Pretty
for
sure
keeps.
if Bone has turned to dust, that any dust, but I don't know that for sure.
Gee, what a helpful thing for you to point out, Dwight.
In this particular place, it has been almost completely isolated from anything like rain or anything that would it's hitting the main chamber.
Gotcha.
This place is completely soft, so everything's in a little bit better condition here. That said, Diamondback now has a set of implements of various kinds that could be used to repair things or whatever, or who knows what they're for. They could just be used for stuff, sweeping. More importantly, it's quite a bit of metal.
Can you get one of them knife blades?
What how should I enter this into my inventory?
Let me give you a list towards the end of the episode. Remind me, and I'll give you some. And we'll call the knives things like dagger, like a simple dagger type thing. But that's still good. That's a good thing. Inkatink, you don't sense any funny sounds as you tap on stuff. There is the table I mentioned to you. There is a cabinet that's more or less intact, and the rubble on the floor. There's a chair that's folded over. There's something else, just a bunch of like fully decayed, who knows what it once was. Maybe it's something you can't tell. You all see that.
Sorry. Can you say that one more time? I apologize.
Yeah, here's what you see. There's rubble on the ground.
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. I was making sure. I totally get kid distraction and stuff. There's rubble on the ground. It once was something. Probably it's been completely chewed by rats or whatever. It's of no meaningful consistency or constituency. There's a little bit of scattered implements picked up. There's a table that has little metal corners and feet, and it's an okay shape. It's about 4 feet wide, 2 feet deep. And then off to the far end, there is a medium size. It's more or less intact. It has a couple of drawers and a couple of doors. It's completely closed. Nothing in this room seems to have been touched in as long as you could imagine. There's no recent activity.
I'll go open up the cabinet.
Okay. Roll it. No, just kidding. I was going to say roll initiative. Yeah. So you open the cabinet and it has several well-ordered shelves with things in them, a few drawers with things in them. The things themselves seem to have been set in very particular ways, as in to not display them, but they were clearly well tended. These things that are sitting here, a few of them are effectively dust in your fingers. A few of them are made of hard things like metal or something, but that's all you know about them right now.
Yeah, sort of metal objects.
It might be metal or stone, or there's like some things that lasted longer and persisted, and some things that didn't.
Hey, somebody want to investigate this thing?
Inkatink has pushed the table around and he's jumping up on the table and he's got the broom and he's poking the ceiling with it while you guys are doing that. He's just kind of, and then jumping down, pushing.
Table collapses.
Yeah, Diamondback comes
You
up
turn around and
behind.
see a dead Kenku.
Diamondback comes up behind Belvari and looks over his shoulder to investigate what he's looking at.
Diamondback, I'm going to have you make 2 rolls. Belvar, you're helping him. Is that what you're implying?
Yeah.
Okay. And also that other
guiding
guidance.
and helping.
Yep. So Diamondback, I want you to make 2 rolls. One is an investigation check to discern anything about these things.
With guidance?
Yeah, with guidance and advantage.
So that's going to be 18 plus 6 plus 3, so 27.
You don't exactly know what these are, but you've been around the block enough to know that these are taken care of in a like the way Garriott took care of his things. Like similar style of these are precious. You suspect with a 27 or whatever you just said, there's a really good chance you think these are magical. Roll me an Arcana check with help and I'm assuming guidance.
Let's see. Arcana is a +3 for this wizard. 17.
17. Okay. Yeah, you're able to clearly discern. You're not detecting magic on them, but you recognize the mode of design or nature of how these are. These are magical items. Maybe all of the things you see here. Go ahead and roll me. Let's do. We're gonna roll for how many there are, and I'm gonna do 2d6.
All right. Shall I roll the 2d6 here?
One of you.
7.
There are 7 magical items here.
A bonanza!
Bonanza. This cabinet clearly 7 intact, 7
Right.
that you can mess with. There may have been more at some point. Clearly, based on what you're seeing here, whatever servant was here when the king was entertaining or doing whatever kings do, all of this is a little bit beyond your experience. It's a little overwhelming as far as the highness of this society. But whatever he was doing, somebody was in this room using magical implements. Maybe they're scrying, maybe they're checking if the people are lying, who knows what. But this person had tools and was right near the action when the king was talking to people. So let's find out what there is. I don't know. You're going to roll now to see what you find, what you get.
Everybody is.
There are 7 items, so you can split them up however you like. Before you roll, what do you want to do? How do you want to handle this? You could each grab a couple. There'd be, for the 4 of you, 2 for each of you. One of you gets 1 or something like that. Or Diamondback gets 7.
I think we've basically got 2 druids and 2 magic users, so it'll probably be obvious which items will be most useful for who. And so
Okay.
we'll divvy up the ranger druid type stuff among the two druids, and we'll divvy up the wizard sorcerer stuff between me and Inkatink.
But for identifying it, Inkatink's happy to hold one, and everybody else can hold two, and we can roll, figure out what they are.
I think one person needs 3.
And you'll spend an hour, right? It's sort of normal, like discovery, a too many type of thing. So if you want to take a short rest and do that, or you can keep them and do it later, that's okay with me. You can continue.
Yeah, let's just grab them and worry about what they are later.
Yeah, I already have a magic item that I haven't attuned yet. Let's just put them in a bag. We're looking for our friends here.
It is entirely possible, however, in the words of Joe Rogan, it's entirely possible that one of those could give us some ability to divine.
That's true. Something in here might give us like the secret of this place that will. Yeah, I think okay. Yeah, I think maybe Diamondback, like,
In an hour.
we should take some time to
Say again?
time to examine these things well, so that in case they hold the key to finding our friends. Is what Diamondback says about the magic items.
Moodily.
Belvari
with great
wanted to
arcane.
know. Penetrating spirit. No, it just says aura around any visible creature or object that bears magic. Oh, and you learn its school of magic, if any, but not like what it does. You'd have to like kind of ponder it for an hour. Yeah. Also, you are missing spell slots and such. It could be reasonable to take a long rest.
Close this door, or was it? You said it won't really close again.
It'd just be hard. It was hard to open. It's not like going
Yeah,
to
let's-
suddenly blow
Let's
closed.
close the door and take a rest.
This strikes me as a grand idea.
Leave your zombie outside. No, wait, the unicorn might kill it. Can the unicorn get in?
The unicorn
Like, if
can.
Really convince it?
It's too small. The thing's 2 feet wide and it's a horse.
Yeah.
So
I'll go out though and like tell the unicorn, hey, we're gonna take a rest. You should stay.
How's the unicorn doing? Is it still super wounded?
it's weak and wounded, but it is.
We took a short rest. So
Yeah, it's better. It's getting better. But I mean, it was like in bad shape. It was eviscerated and about to die.
Can you tell the zombie to guard the unicorn?
Yes, I surely can. I do so.
Belvari, you get the strong. No, not strong. It shot unicorn when you say so to it, and you have a distinct impression within you. You almost could interpret the foot shuffle, you think, except that that's ridiculous. But
Yeah, it's obvious.
it seems as though the unicorn is saying something like, meaning something like, okay, I'll sleep.
Okay.
And it just gets down. It's weak,
Gotcha.
right? And it gets down and kind of hunkers. Maybe you even chuckle to yourself at the ridiculousness of interpreting foot scratches on the ground.
Gotcha.
I do it all the time.
I don't know. Some kind of leaves over it. Use like survival to.
I'm going to give you a
I think a +6.
14 to like partially cover it with some vines and stuff.
9 + 6, I think is
15. Great. Yeah, you're able to obscure it in a way that you feel hides it if there were anything coming in, unless it could smell or something, whatever came in
Yeah.
could smell. But, so yeah, it looks like, as best you can tell, some vines on the ground with a. It's really dark out there for you, but
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah, Inkatink, what's up?
We can
Point
see
of
that.
order.
Maybe I would try to cover that specifically.
Sounds good. Yes, Inkatink.
Before we engage in this hour-long short rest, Inkatink would like to use the last of his comprehend languages ability to touch and look at the various different items and implements and whatnot that have come off the table, come out of the cabinet, to see if there's anything written on any of them.
That's a great idea.
I'm just going to look right here.
Also, I think a long rest.
If you want to regain spell slots, also you have 7 man hours of work to do for attuning
Yeah,
to
which
these,
gets
not
down to
counting
3 possibly.
not counting your lenses.
Lenses.
To be attuned, he has to attune to
right.
them.
Yeah. So 11-hour rest.
Man hour.
Well, we're gonna take an 8-hour rest and then 3 hours of
Yeah, right.
looking at items.
You could do an hour each. 2
Do
hours.
we need
each.
do we need a long rest?
I don't need a long rest.
I mean, I'm down
I'm
a couple
pretty
of
good.
slots and a couple of hit points, but I could keep going.
I mean, I've got most of my spell slot. I mean, I've used up my 3rd level spell slots, but I've got all my other spell slots and stuff.
Belvari cast spells to take care of this 2
Okay.
Quag off.
Okay, yeah.
I'm okay
All
with
right.
whatever. I'm just telling you.
I would not be adverse to taking a long rest, but if y'all are happy me going into battle and hitting things with my shillelagh, then we don't need to take a long rest.
They're tough cookies. They can dig in like an Alabama tick and hold on.
What are?
So no to a long rest.
I don't know what that means.
I think
Somebody tell me what-
Diamondback would vote for. Diamondback is not going to like take charge and act like he's the leader, but he will. My preference is for us to rest for 1 or 2 hours, long enough to attune these items and discover what they are, and then move on. I feel a sense of urgency around finding our friends.
Sounds good to me. Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
Hope the friends don't have any bad guys around them.
There are 7 rolls. And you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, there are 7 rolls, and I would like for just tell me how many rolls each of you are going to do. So, like 2, 2, 1. Who's going to do the 1?
I'll do 1.
Okay. And Diamondback, you have, if you want to, you have then 3 items that you could do this on. One is your eagle.
Well, then I'll do 2. That way we're taking 2 hours and getting them all done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that worked for me.
Okay.
Great. So Diamondback, your first one,
Well, we
would
would initially roll to get the item. We might find something that looks useless, and we might not even want to spend an hour attuning it.
Okay.
It doesn't take an hour to know what it is. It takes an hour to
Yeah.
be able to use it.
So wait, you just
Got
look
it.
at a magic item and you know what it is?
Yes.
How does it know what it is work?
So
Just
we can
generally
cast
in
a
5e, you sort of they decided for 5th edition not to make it super hard to figure out what stuff is.
Great.
You
Well, then I disagree
generally
with
sort
that.
of kind of know what it is. And I'm a wizard. I can tell you probably like what it does.
In
I don't
this
know.
world,
This is my sense. You're the dungeon master, yeah. So if you want us to do something to figure out what it does, that's fine.
These are foreign and weird. The attunement things, and I'll let you decide at the end if the result of that is knowledge and attunement or
Just
knowledge.
Cool.
Okay.
That's
Fair
awesome.
Okay, so we'll do 2 hours, and at the end of this, I think each person can attune to 3 things. Is that right?
Yes,
Yes.
that is a hard maximum in the game.
Okay, so
Even level 20
Then,
characters, only 3.
okay, so that means you can just feel free to attune to them and give them to somebody else to attune later if you want. Let's do Toll. Why don't we do yours first?
And what kind of a
Okay.
roll is it? A D100?
Yeah, it's a D100. I have here. You know what? I'm actually going to do this guy and do. Give me a second. Y'all are all level 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Toll, why don't you roll me a D100?
All right. 92.
All right. Give me one sec here.
Oh, I think I'm wrong, Sir Robert.
Okay, tell me something.
The identify spell is the fastest way to reveal an item's properties. Alternatively, a character can focus on one magic item during a short rest while being in physical contact with the item. At the end of the rest, the character learns the item's properties as well as how to use them. Potions are an exception. A little taste is enough to tell the taster what the potion does.
Okay, that's about what I was feeling like. So yeah, we're going to use these hours this way. Sounds good to me. You said 92, right, Pat?
90. 92, yeah.
92, okay. Sorry, I'm looking for a couple of things here. There's some of them that don't make sense in the world that we've got. So I'm whatever. Toll, you find there are a pair. There, it's some kind of fabric that, to your significant surprise, is not decayed. Perhaps the magic of it has made it not happen. They are boots of false tracks. Only humanoids can wear it. While wearing it, you can choose to have them leave tracks like those of another kind of humanoid your size. So you could leave orc tracks or human tracks or
Quagoth tracks.
yeah, any humanoid your size. All right. And then Toll, why don't you roll me another one?
All right.
Patrick Stewart walked through here.
68.
68. All right. Sorry, hold on. Oh, there's. I was looking for the scrolling. Patrick, you also found the thing you're looking at is a waxy looking candle that doesn't seem to burn out. It is a candle of the deep. The flame of this candle is not extinguished when immersed in water. It's just it gives off light and heat like a normal candle, and basically is not going to be able to be extinguished.
Very
And to
useful.
clarify, both Toll and Patrick know what these things do, right?
Yes.
Okay.
At the end of these 2 hours, these two
Right.
things are.
Cool.
That's an excellent get for aquatic splunking.
It's true. And then let's do some. Who's next?
I'll go.
Okay, Josh, why don't you go?
All right, D100. That's a 90.
Start rolling since his D100 takes forever.
Say it again.
Maybe Matt should go ahead and start rolling.
That's right.
Seeing as how he has to get one of those old Chinese guy tops that you fling in the street. There's a name for those, but I got a 90.
Okay, give me one sec here.
Ooh, somebody's driving their Kawasaki Ninja pretty aggressively.
Welcome to my neighborhood. If there's not a Kawasaki Ninja being driven aggressively, it's not Southside Providence.
No, it's not.
Um, you have Inkatink. It's a long metal stick, not super long, a couple of foot long metal stick. It actually has what is a small button or something at one end. You found an immovable rod.
Nice. That is a useful splunking implement too.
All right. And Inkatink, you had 2, right?
Yes. So
Okay,
my
what you
other
got?
one. Oh, please be another 90. 58. The only thing better than an immovable rod is 2 immovable rods.
And then you can bang them together.
Now you can make your own ladder.
You said 58?
58.
Okay. And I'm going to modify the one that I'm getting here is not a good thing for what we're doing. So I'm just going to modify your roll with another die roll. Inkatink, you have
Yes.
also found a bag of holding.
Whoa, nice. Only like the most useful thing ever.
I don't actually know exactly what that does, but it's bigger on the inside than the outside.
Yep.
Your turn.
I will roll 70 0. Is that 70?
Yeah, that sounds right. And I'm going to modify that as well. All right. That is a tap of water breathing.
Ooh, that's handy.
Yeah. And you want to roll one more?
Yeah. 38.
Okie dokie. Where was I? Let's see. Give me 1 second here. Some of these I'm not quite sure, so I have to check to make sure it's appropriate for what we're doing.
Gotcha. Scrolling through the alphabetical list, you could give me the antimatter rifle if you want.
Great. That is exactly what we have here. There's a couple of things that are like not. Some of the stuff is like, well, it doesn't matter.
Aladdin's lamp? What?
You find Belvari. The thing you have is actually it's a little stone sphere,
Mm-hmm.
and working it for this hour. At some point, you're kind of moving it, and you realize it twists and kind of unlocks from it, and becomes 2 not smooth, like 2 shaped interlocking hemispheres of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you realize that these are sending stones.
Nice.
All right. And Matt, you've got your one eagle thing,
Yeah.
eagle eyes, and then also what? Roll me a thing.
Here goes. Wait. The cock. There we go.
Still rolling.
42.
42. Alrighty. Let's see. It's interesting. Okay.
Gotta be a divination object with a number like 42, right?
got to be.
Okay. I'm basically one of the things is I'm re-rolling a couple of times because if they're potions, I'm not doing that because this is like a tool the guy would have been using, not a consumable. Whoever the servant was that was in this bit. Okay. You know what? Let's see. You said 42?
42.
You have found a robe, Diamondback. It is a robe of useful items.
Robe of useful items.
That's
Here's
a good
the
one.
description. It says, this robe has cloth patches of various shapes and colors covering it. While wearing the robe, you can use an action to detach a patch, causing it to become that object or creature it represents. Once the last patch is removed, the robe becomes an ordinary garment. It has 2 of each of the following. It has 2 daggers, 2 bullseye lanterns filled and lit, 2 steel mirrors, 10-foot poles, 50 feet of hempen rope, 2 sacks. In addition, it has 4d4 other patches. The DM chooses the patches or determines them from this table that they gave. Do you want to determine those things now or while we're doing it? I don't mind that.
Sure, I'll roll 4d4
Roll 4d4.
and then roll the d100 that many times.
Let's do that. I'm totally fine
Okay.
for it to be random.
So 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 is 12.
Well, good for 44.
Yeah.
44.
So number 1. I'll be taking notes on this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to roll the big D100 anymore after this. It's still going. There we go. 18. So that's a iron
On this
door.
table, an iron door. Yep. And just so you know, not everything's going to come off this table. There's a couple of things that I won't give you a patch for. So
Okay,
if you roll
awesome.
those, I'll give you something else.
Okay, here, I'm going to roll these. Where are my D10s? Here we go.
If you want to call out the numbers rapidly, I can write them all down, and then you can go through all the others.
Sure. 36.
That is a wooden ladder. Yeah, 24-foot wooden ladder. Good.
72.
That is on this chart,
Rowboat.
it is a rowboat. Yeah, definitely. That's good.
You writing these down, Josh?
Dude, you just got a flipping boat. We're about to go into a water, and you just got a boat. This is the
It's
greatest thing ever.
36.
Another wooden ladder. Right? 24-foot wooden ladder.
Another wooden ladder, but instead of that, give me 1 second. Trying to see. You get a window.
A window.
Nice. Into your soul.
Okay, number 5.
Portable hole.
16.
Which is, in this case, another iron door. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. Another iron door.
Hope the Iron Bell doesn't find this
Iron door.
iron door.
I've been wanting an iron door for my wizard's tower. 13.
That one, however, is a
Ooh.
silver coffer. A foot long, 6 inches wide, 6 inches deep. worth 500 gold. It's like very fancy.
It's
So go
treasure
for it.
item. Good. Number 7. 47. A horse?
A riding horse with saddlebags. Yep, do it.
If you place a portable hole inside of a bag of holding, both items are
87.
8 extra points.
2 mastiffs.
2 mastiffs.
Instead of that, let's do a pit.
What is that on here?
Yeah, it's 52 to 59. A cube 10 feet on the side. You can 10 feet of you, makes a pit.
Okay.
Which I guess if you're on something like a bridge would make a hole in the bridge.
There's a hole in the bottom of the
Number 9 is 93. A window.
Another window. I'm assuming window here means like you put it on a wall and you can get the wall, right?
Yes, or 2 feet by 4 feet up to 2 feet deep, which you can
Up to 2
place
feet
on a
deep,
vertical
right.
surface. Yeah, so
Okay.
it'll go through a.
Yeah.
It's an instant hole in a wall. I kind of
Right.
want one of these spell scrolls. Come on, spell scroll. 96. Another window.
That is another window. Instead of that, instead of a third window, let's do a spell scroll.
I don't know how to determine what that spell scroll will be, but it's a spell scroll containing 1 scroll of 1st to 3rd level, which could be quite useful to wizards.
That's right. And I'll roll that one for you in a minute. But how many do you have left? 2 more.
2 more left.
Okay, go for it.
Here we go. 47.
Another horse with saddlebags. Instead of that, I'll let you pick either a bag, which would be like a 1 through 8, or another scroll.
Another scroll.
Deal. So that's 2 scrolls.
$53. Final one.
Another pit. And instead of that, you know what I'm going to do on this one? I'm going to actually roll something for you. Give me a second here.
This is actually a very sad moment.
Why is that?
Because how am I going to continue to be a shirtless necromancer going around with a robe of useful things on my back?
Inkatink walks up to you and
Yeah.
offers you the
You
rod.
don't have to wear it for it to work. You can just rip patches off of a robe of.
I think it actually says while you're wearing it.
Yeah, you have to be wearing it.
Oh, you can give it away, Matt.
I mean, you can
Haha,
put it
no.
on, rip the patch off, and
Inkatink offers you the immovable rod. He
No.
waves it in front of your face.
Nope. 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 Nope.
Okay.
Oh, this is-
Good. Let's see. 5e. Sorry, I'm looking here. Yeah, I don't see a good one for that. I'll tell you what we're going to do for that last one. Let's do. Yeah, you know what? A third scroll.
All
Why
right.
not? Tell me, Diamondback. I mean, Matt. You get each of these scrolls can have any. I'll put a wizard spell on them for sure.
Mhm.
You can pick the both level and school, but you can't do the same school twice.
I mean, divination, right?
but I'll definitely give you a wizard spell of the level you prefer and the school you prefer for all 3 scrolls.
Okay. Do I have to pick now? I'll pick now. I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
do
do
it live. One, because it's Diamondback. One of them has to be necromancy.
Okay,
Um,
hold on. Let's do that one. What
So
level?
3rd level necromancy. And will you roll it again if it's a spell I already have?
Yeah, I'll do that. So you can learn new spells. And sorry, just real quickly, I need. Oh, here, and I'm gonna limit it to wizard, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't learn something with whatever.
And it will take.
It's expensive to learn it.
It's expensive. It costs money and time to actually learn the spell from it. So I won't be able to do it like right away. I'll have to go in my wizard's tower and do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, no problem.
So, what's your 3rd spell school? Necromancy. Did you want to do divination for one in case
me
we
look
can
up the
find
list.
them?
Necromancy. I had to set the thing, so give me 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to do a D8 since there are 7 of them. Vampiric touch.
Yeah, I don't have it.
Great.
Okay, so I'll write that down. Spell scroll of vampiric touch. I want, divination, and then I also want the one that has to do with elements is evoconjuration, right? Which spell is fireball?
Real quickly,
Evocation.
I'm not sure. Evocation.
It's evocation.
Diamondback, there are 2 3rd level divination spells. Do you want to pick? You want to get one of those 2, or do you want to open it up to 2nd or 3rd level?
I have not looked up what they are.
I'm saying, do you want a broader selection, or definitely a powerful spell but a limited selection?
Let's go with the more limited selection. Flip a coin.
Tongues.
Just a pile of tongues.
It is. A
And then
fountain.
3rd level evocation.
And then evocation next. Divination. Evocation. All right, let's see how many there are. According to D&D Beyond, there are quite a few. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do another D8. You have a scroll of sending. Do you have that one already?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. That's
Great.
game changer. You don't have to see them. They just have to be somewhere on the same plane as you.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Wizard.
No, it even works across planes, but with
Anybody
a
he's
5%
familiar
chance.
with,
You can send a message,
can
Oh
just
my
send a message.
goodness.
and then they have a chance to reply.
you send a short message of 25 words or less to a creature with which you are familiar. Creature hears the message in its mind, recognizes you as the sender if it knows you, and can answer in like manner immediately. With intelligence scores of at least 1, which is almost everything. To understand the meaning of your message, you can send the message across any distance, any plane of existence. If they're on a different plane, there's a 5% chance that the message doesn't arrive, and about responding.
Yeah,
Dude, that's the best one you could have
No, it says
possibly
it does.
gotten.
The creature
It
hears
does.
the message in its mind, recognizes you as the sender if it knows
Oh,
you, and can answer in a like manner immediately. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a good spell. Use the scroll immediately.
No.
That
It's
makes it
safely inside of the robe.
Sorry.
Man.
Yeah.
So how long would it take you to copy that into your wizard?
one
book.
patch on
2 hours, or I believe it. I think it's like 2 hours per level and 50 gold per level. So
Well,
it's
you've got
basically
your
like
coffer thing.
it'll have to be a downtime activity.
Yeah,
next
but
time
if
we
you
have a
can
rest.
we got to do that, right? Because
Yeah.
then you can send a message to them and they can tell us something about where they are. They might be able to actually give us some kind of sense of where to look.
Oh boy,
You could
that's
find
true.
somebody who has 150 gold.
Oh, so we could get that
Kill
long
the
rest
diamond.
that y'all didn't want us to take.
Boy.
Say what?
We could get
Oh, that long rest. That yeah.
Well, let me.
Oh, now you want to do it?
All right. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
Is that everything?
Yeah. So you have, and Diamondback, you also know your eagle eyes. Divvy them up as you like. You don't have to have the one you did. You were just divvying the work. Feel free to trade equipment. It doesn't matter to me. We can do it now or later, anytime you want. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't have to be permanent. So you both have had 2 short rests. I assume that works that way. Or you all have had 2 short rests. You are in this room. There appears, to the best of your ability to tell, to be nothing else about this room exactly.
So, Dungeon Master.
Hey, that's me.
I believe that the idea behind the cost in gold of wizards, like transcribing spells into their spell book, is because you have to buy costly inks, various expendable spell components, and things to support your studies during the time that you're like closeted with the text that you're transcribing and memorizing it. I don't know exactly what form that would take, but I think for Diamondback, for like Snake Clan stuff, it would probably be like expensive hallucinogens and like ritual like incense.
What you need
and
Diamondback
things.
is some venom.
But the idea behind putting the cost in gold is that you would have to buy it from somebody.
Sure. Yeah.
And we don't really have that sort of thing in this world. So what I want from you, a ruling that I would like from you is, what is Diamondback going to have to do to transcribe this spell into his spell book? If you remember, his spell book is actually the necklace of snakes,
the necklace that he's wearing,
teeth that he carves little sigils into that look like just maybe artistic, but are actually like secretly spells.
Inkatink whips out the huge fang from the Hydra and hands it to Diamondback and kind of nods like for the good one.
So
that way you can have a freaking huge Hydra fang on your necklace.
Diamondback looks at the spell scroll and says, "What's it gonna take for me to get you into my spell book today?"
Yeah, so I mean, like,
let's make it.
So Diamondback has enough. Like, if I were to pull the if we were in a humdrum, not as creative, like traditional Dungeons and Dragons town, I would be able to go up to like the local wizard shop and pull the silver coffer out of my robe of useful things and plunk it on the table and say, 500 gold worth of fancy spell scrolls and things, and I would use 150 gold of that and 6 hours of study to copy this spell into my spell book and be able to cast it. And then, after a long rest and those 6 hours from the present moment, I would be able to cast this spell and talk to Yoshka. So it would be great if I could do that, but it may not be possible here. It may not be possible at all. You might rule that like that kind of copying just doesn't even happen in this world. I would say like the Snake Clan has definitely been transcribing knowledge and passing down illegal knowledge in this way for a long time, but
That's
they're
definitely
gone.
a part of your backstory.
I'm
totally for that. So and it's well established. It's not like a new thing.
But also, since they're gone, I might not be able to get the stuff, or you might have to like send me on a quest to gather the materials that I would buy with that money or something like that. It's totally up to you. But that's sort of the parameters of like what it should cost.
So for our listening audience, just to give a sense of this, this Dungeons and Dragons form of copying, that is, I'm not, some of you may know, I am not adhering stringently and strictly to the D&D rules, especially for magic in this world. It is very magical here. Copying the spell into your spellbook involves reproducing the basic form of the spell, deciphering the unique system of notation used by the wizard who wrote it, in this case, the language that it was written in, Diamondback. It's not your language.
Right.
You must practice the spell, although that actually may not be essential because it's symbols. You must practice the spell and sounds or gestures required. Transcribe it into your spellbook using your own notation. For each level of the spell, the process takes 2 hours, costs 50 gold pieces. The cost represents material. Here's the important part. The cost represents, so the 2 hours means minimum of 6 hours because it's a third level spell. The cost represents the material components you expend as you experiment with the spell to master it, as well as the fine inks you need to record it. Once you have spent this time and money, you can prepare the spell just like your other spells. Okay, here's what we're going to do, Diamondback. Matt.
Oh, there's another thing to note about this. From the Dungeon Master's Guide entry on spell scrolls.
Okay.
A wizard spell on a spell scroll can be copied just as spells in spellbooks can be copied. When a spell is copied from a spell scroll, the copier must succeed on an intelligence arcana check with a DC equal to 10 plus the spell's level. If the check succeeds, the spell is successfully copied. Whether the check succeeds or fails, the spell scroll is destroyed. So I've got to make a DC 13 arcana check in order to copy this spell successfully.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to say this in a way that you will understand, Diamondback, and our listening audience will understand. The other guys with you may not. You can convey whatever meaning to them you want about this. So
Okay.
Good?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take you the full 6 hours. You will have to roll the Arcana check that you talked about with a DC 13. Tie goes to you, Diamondback. And here's what we're going to do. Your staff, Diamondback, you have seen it used for something besides turning into a snake or turning you into a snake. And you have a sense that there is a way you could use your staff to put you into an altered state. Right? Your staff is a serpent and it has sharp fangs.
Other than the one that I've done in front of my friends already?
An altered mental state.
Oh, fair enough.
And you know how to do that, right? You've seen it used a certain way. What that would do is put a venom into you that will affect you for 24 hours. Right?
Okay.
During that, you'll be in a sort of altered consciousness. You know, you're focusing on this stuff, and for that reason, you won't be able to use your staff for the other things, right? You'll have half hit points, half max hit points, I should say, for the 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of that time, the spell is in the first 6 hours of doing it, the spell is copied. During that period, then you have to just deal with the weakened state you're in for another, 18 hours. Okay.
So at the end of the 2 hours of rest, when we're sort of done playing with our new toys and Diamondback has been peering into the little patches and like feeling what they are, examining them and decoding sigils on them and things like that. He's wearing this robe of useful items. He goes goes to the others and says, "Friends."
You said sorry, to Belvari, Toll, and Inkatink.
Yeah.
Okay.
I say, "Friends, this robe is an extremely powerful magical artifact, and I'm in possession of certain secret lore of the Snake Clan, by which means I am cognizant of the existence of a ceremony that could imbue me with a spell that might possibly allow me to contact Yoshka and the others by magical means. It's risky, and to perform the ritual will.
Are you sitting in the street?
Cause truly, truly intense gastrointestinal distress.
To perform the ritual will take a great deal of time, at least 24 hours, during which I will not be able to go anywhere or do anything. I'll be in a kind of a snake trance. Think of it that way. And it, frankly, I've never done this before. My grandfather used to do something like this, which is how I know about it. But it's risky. It might not work. But I don't know. I submit to you. Do you want to attempt this?
Yep, I want my long rest, so I'm for it. And this is a safe place to do it.
Inkatink, I think, got really excited when you said that you would be able to possibly contact the party. And so Inkatink nods in agreement and looks at Toll.
Sure, no argument here.
Okay. Here's another request for a ruling. Since I have a fellow Snake Clan devotee magic user here, could I get help on the Arcana check to copy the spell? This is a question you can super definitely say no to. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I am also a magic user, so.
Yeah, Inkatink is a magic user, and he's also a member of the Snake Clan. He knows a lot of my secrets. So maybe he could help me with this, with the DC 13 Arcana check. Maybe not.
You don't know that, Dwight. Wipe that from your mind. You don't know any of that.
I mean, I was just told by.
Yeah, what am I, chopped liver? Do I have to?
Talking.
No, Toll, you have self-control. I know you can RP this. Dwight has to be told.
I just
Might be a
heard
question
Diamondback
to
said that
look
he
up.
was a member of the Snake Clan. Apparently talking to his god, who he's been praying to for a while now.
Is Sir Robert practicing to be a statue on the street, or is the video frozen?
It's the statue thing.
I can see him.
Hi,
I haven't seen Sir Robert move in a while.
I'm wiggling my hand.
No, you're not.
You're frozen for him. I don't know.
You're hallucinating. You've been bitten by a snake. You're clearly not moving on my screen.
Can you hear us?
Sure,
That's
but
what
I
you
believe
need.
Sir Robert has incredible powers of ventriloquism too.
Did you know that I'm a real person, not just a voice Sir Robert does?
Nuh-uh. Have you ever seen Sir Robert and Dwight in the same room?
Yes, I see us in the same room right now.
I can't.
So, what are we doing?
I'm asking you, as the dungeon master, to rule on whether my friend and magical companion and fellow cultist Inkatink could help me with this Arcana check. give me the help action on it.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Nice.
I'll give you guidance.
Okay, yeah. While I'm doing the copying, you can give me guidance. The first part of this, we're gonna get some privacy. So, Diamondback
If
says,
The call of privacy.
If only there was a dark, quiet tower somewhere nearby.
Yeah. I mean, are y'all gonna go off into the tower? Because I'm gonna hole up in this nice, safe room.
I would like to hole up in the nice, safe room too. But I think
And
for
we
the
could
first
all
part of
hole up
this,
in a nice, safe room.
I think for the first part of this, I just need a couple minutes alone. So I'll say to Tull and to Belvari, I will say, okay, I'm willing. It is dangerous and risky, may not succeed, but it may be our best chance to find them.
I'm willing to take that risk.
Could you possibly give Inkatink and I 10 minutes of privacy in this room?
Sure. Do you know how to work the door?
Just go outside and don't listen too closely.
Okay.
I mean, we're definitely going to listen. There's a hole in the wall.
I don't think it's actually going to make any sound. Maybe it will.
Maybe
The
an
dungeon
ouch.
master will describe it. So once they've left, I
Toll is trying to listen, just to make that
Yeah.
clear.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who am I? Belvari is also.
Diamondback checks the entrance and makes sure he doesn't see Tull and Belvari.
Against a stealth roll of.
Also, which of us even has the thing that helps us see? I think
Diamondback's been the holder. I mean, sorry, Bavari's been the holder of it.
but I think Diamondback is going to need to be holding it in order to do all this stuff. I'm going to need to be holding it for 6 hours.
So you're kicking us out of the room for 6 hours?
No, I'm kicking you out of the room for 10 minutes, and then I need to hold the torch for
Yeah, you
six.
can take the torch. I'm
6 hours.
I'm standing outside the room, and
You
I'm
can-
hidden.
Sit next to the unicorn.
Yeah, I've hidden myself near the unicorn with a 22 stealth roll.
Great.
And I'm listening, straining my ears to the point of possibly even taking a hit point of damage.
So I Diamondback gets Inkatink, and they get into like Snake Clan stance. They do like their ninja moves, get into the zone, and then whispering says a prayer to Arasanala, my lady. Diamondback will whisper this, saying, "My lady, I need your help. I need your power, the ability to see deeply into things. I must shed the skin of my present knowledge in order to grow into a greater strength and wisdom and magical power. Please grant me your supernatural insight." And then he spins the staff and strikes himself in the chest with the fangs. That's how it works, right?
Yeah. Or anywhere but the chest, sure.
And so I suppose he feels that the venom start, his hit points, now he's got 12 hit points. And he feels the weakness and like leans back against the wall and kind of sags down until he's sitting, and says, "Ingatink, come here, come close," and takes out, uses an action to detach the patch from the cloak, which turns into the spell scroll of sending. So now he's holding the spell scroll of sending, and he lifts off the bone necklace and lays it down, and shifts through the bones until he gets to a blank one, and he gets out his serpent tooth dagger, and he sharpens it a little bit with, like, however you sharpen a bone dagger. I don't even know if you can. He sharpens up his dagger so it's razor sharp, and then he opens the seal on the scroll, and with Inkatink looking over his shoulder, both of them holding on to the torch so they can see, he begins to work on transcribing the spell. And I guess I've got to make
Arcana with advantage and guidance.
yes. So
Get me back in the room.
yeah. So after the 10 minutes have elapsed, you guys come back in, and when you two touch the torch, you can see Diamondback is deep in study of a spell scroll covered with, I suppose, marsh bird like hieroglyphics or something. Probably the same language that we've seen around here, or the same style, whatever
It's
Sir Robert
illuminated
says.
and everything.
And he's deep in study of this, and Inkatink is sort of over his shoulder, pointing things out, and they're talking in whispers. And yeah, you can give me the guidance action if you would like.
I will. Yes.
I love it. Thank you. Okay.
DC 13, advantage, guidance. Let's see what you got.
You don't have a bard to give me anything else?
That's who
Okay.
you're trying to talk to.
Here goes. Okay, we're good. 23.
Great. So, Diamondback, you are doing this spell transcription, and a part of what happens for this process here. Oh, hey, there's a dog. It's just on the screen. It destroys the scroll, and what's happening here is the others are seeing you sort of move your muscles and kind of undulate in various ways, probably only partially consciously. You're affected, by this strange thing that's happening to you, and there's the whatever it is, venom or whatever, coursing through your blood. As you do so, and you're rubbing your fingers on the symbols and tracing them, and your fingernails are going across. As you transcribe them, you can see the symbols on the scroll disintegrating with, little bits of ember or fire, or just melting off, or they're all just going away. You're not sure whether it's happening in reality or you're just seeing it. But the symbols that you're putting onto your necklace around the teeth and such, are causing them to leave the scroll. As you finish this, the paper of the scroll disintegrates like everything else very, very, very old here. It appears that the paper upon which it was written is no longer magical, and its age catches up to it.
Do I learn the spell sending?
It's fully learned.
Woo! Okay, in that
The
case,
level 3 spell slot, right?
yeah. So after 6 hours, I just sleep for another 8 hours after that, I guess.
All of you, Diamondback collapses into sleep. He not collapses, just he sort of falls into sleep. But the entire time he's sleeping, his whole body is undulating and kind of moving as though he's not uncomfortable, but like flexing and tensing.
Can I actually
not-
shed a layer of skin?
Absolutely, that's a great idea.
And near the end of it, Diamondback actually sloughs off just a thick white layer of like skin, just his whole body just
You climbed out
comes
through
off.
the mouth in your sleep.
and
Have your
he's-
tattoo?
It's hard to keep tattoos if you keep doing
I was gonna say, have your tattoos evolved? Are they like slightly different, or are they exactly
the
the
tattoos
same?
are a little bit edgier and darker and more grimdark now.
Nice.
Underneath.
Diamondback's beauty is more than skin deep.
But I'm
I like to
I'm
imagine
very like tender.
you feel your organs too.
That's right. Great. So y'all can sleep for this set of hours.
Gotcha.
Get your long rests. Do your stuffs.
I will get my long rest and then I will go out and hang out with the unicorn.
The unicorn has been sleeping. Obviously, is hungry, and so
You can eat good berries.
is able to eat good berries and also the
Camouflage.
flora. Yeah, that's right. The vines or whatever around him. He's feeling he. This one's a he, right?
I think you said he, but
Yeah. This one's feeling a lot better.
nice. Does it
Still-
look like it could? Can I take the
Bandage off.
bandage off?
Yeah, roll me a medicine check.
Medicine. I'll take guidance too, just in case. Yep, I will need it because I rolled an 8. So I get a 12.
Yeah, it has taken to the healing you've done. The scarring on the belly is still tender when you touch it. It's almost as though you can, like touching, and you can feel the response of the unicorn's intent. It's an odd sensation for you that you're like, it's almost like you're talking to it, but you're not. You're not using any. It's basically saying that it's very tender, but
Maybe leave it.
you can
for
take it
now.
off if you wanted, but it's like sore.
Yeah, let's leave it for now.
Okay.
Just protect it for a little longer.
All right. You awake with a pile of your feet. You are still undulating somewhat. Even as you just stand up, you're kind of moving and just twisting a little bit, like you've got something going on in you. The rest of you can wake up.
Inkatink gathers up Diamondback's skin and like folds it ceremonially into a little bundle
Good
And,
job, Nicole.
and places it in the bag of holding.
All right, so I'll get my long rest and then I'll
Like a
I'll
pelican.
take away half of my hit points.
And remember, that's just for whatever. That's half your max for the next. You've done 8 hours, so the next 12 hours. No, 16 hours.
Oh, 15 is my max.
Your max hit points are halved for the next 24
Okay.
hours.
Let me put that in. Awesome.
You should call him.
I also I will spend a 3rd level spell slot to maintain control by means of the animate dead spell over my zombie. And then I will spend another 3rd level spell slot to cast the spell Sending.
Now, before you do, you cast. It's cast, right? But before you describe and what you're going to say, we're in an interesting situation just mechanically here, because if you're going to send to another member of the party who needs to respond instantly, they're not here, right? They're
Right.
So what
Well,
we're
we
going
might
to
need
do,
to make that the last thing in the episode.
yeah. We will. It's 9:45, so what we'll do is we'll describe what happens here, and then I'll, end the episode there. But importantly, and I'm going to describe. Let me say it this way. Sorry, give me 1 second. This is a mechanic. I'm just working out a mechanical issue here. So, okay, great. Yeah, describe what you want, and we'll end the episode, at this point.
I have to come up with exactly 25 words.
Do it.
You don't have to use all of them if you don't want.
What was this place called? It was called the Pit, right? The Hole.
The whole.
The whole.
Do me a favor. Let's say that you all are discussing what you can say. What's a good message that you can send? I want to add that for flavor. So hey, what's the right thing to say here? I would like for each of you, as you're thinking about what to say, discuss what you might say, please.
So what I've got so far is Yoshka, it's Diamondback. We're in the hole above ground. It's magically dark. And that's 11 words. And then tell us how to find you.
Where are you is shorter.
Oh, that's good. Where
So you
are
don't need any
you?
of the first part. You don't need to say your name, and you don't need to say "Hey Yoshka" because he knows who you are.
He knows who I am.
So you could-
okay.
So you could
And
just
he
say,
knows
"We
who
are
he
above
is.
the hole in magical darkness. Where are you?"
Belvari points out that Yoshka may also already know who he is.
Right. So we've got 11 words. We're in the hole above ground. It's magically dark. Where are you? Any other important information we can give him?
Toll says hi.
Inkatink misses Nino, not Yoshka.
Belvari says,
House
don't,
camp.
don't sleep, there's snakes.
Oh man, no. What kind of information can? So we are. Okay, we could tell them how many hours into the darkness we have traveled because maybe they're in darkness underground.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, how many hours into the darkness have we traveled?
It's like 4 or 5 was traveling.
Here's what I want you to do. This is why I wanted to have y'all talk about this, so that I can understand your thought process. All of you individually, so that roll a history check, which I'm using to recollect your recent memories of stuff.
There it is.
Nice.
19 for Toll.
Unnatural 20.
19 for Toll, 20 for Belvari,
9.
9 for Diamondback.
We can have an argument over it.
Diamondback is undulating and unsure whether history exists in the past.
I'm still sick. I'm still seeing 2 worlds at the same time.
You've got the long COVID.
That's right. Inkatink?
16.
16, okay. Diamondback, you think back to, I'm just going to say, with a 9, you think back to recent events and about the whole in particular and what you can convey. It seems prudent to you, Diamondback, to remind Yoshka of how itchy your back is. That's what you remember most with a 9. And also that you've been in the hole for, it has to be weeks.
When we came in, his back was not itchy.
Sorry. So nothing especially detailed that you remember. You're distracted by lots of things like venoms. Inkatink, Toll, and Belvari. Here are some things you, among the 3 of you discussing, put together. While you've been in the hole for a little more than 4 hours now, a day, you actually have only walked a handful of hours. Far is hard to tell, but you're guessing with pretty decent, survival instincts and such by this point. You're guessing you're 6 or 8, probably 6 hours in, right? You were about 3-ish hours in from the edge when you found Inkatink's. Sorry, no. Sorry, when you
We stopped.
stopped to rest in in the little wigwam, 2 hours, 3 hours, and then you went a little further to this place. So you think you're about 5 or 6 hours in from the edge. You remember a couple of things. One, this is the general direction that Garriott, when he was scrying, said the river underground went.
But he lost it at the edge
Um,
of the darkness.
no, he lost it after the edge of the darkness. That you remember that that he knows that you went towards. He doesn't specifically. There's a point where he could no longer see because it was dark, like scrying, and then there's a point after that where he could not see. He just there was nothing. There was no Yoshka to find. He couldn't catch.
They might be on a different plane.
So, things you remember. Oh, and also, Inkatink, you recall a brief conversation with you and Diamondback and someone else who also was unable to help you get information. Or maybe Diamondback remembers that about where they were. I'm just telling you, y'all had a conversation like that.
Right.
It was not Garrett.
Right.
Okay,
But we,
that's what you
we
know.
couldn't. Yeah. Okay.
Send your messages or massages.
Let me.
Yeah, I think we need to say somehow about. We need to summarize that Garriott screed.
That's right.
Had a screed, and then he scried.
What?
That we are into the pit in the direction that they went into the pit, but Garriott lost them. I don't know how to say that shortly.
How about this?
So we have a sense of how many hours we've traveled in. We can tell them that we've traveled to. We should mention the tower, right? Just on the off chance that they have some way of making sense of that information.
The tower,
So,
you mean the kind of palace or keep that you're in the fortress?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are among Blackstone towers.
Not Blackstone.
What are they?
Stone. Just
We are
regular-
among stone towers.
Yeah.
So among several, I guess my bat flew around. How many are there in this area?
Your bat you summoned from some other plane or something for Find Familiar. That's how.
Sure, but I sent him out to fly around, and he detected that there were other
3 towers.
towers
2 intact or mostly intact, and 1 partially dilapidated.
among
One-
3 stone towers.
How about this?
6 hours
We're in
from-
the hole above ground. 6 hours walk from edge. Entered same place as you. It's magically dark. In Stone Wall City. Where are you? Throughout the it's in magically dark.
Yeah, just say magically dark.
Okay. We can add one more word.
I guess we don't need it.
I was
So
I'm
tower-
willing to let that word be just emotional intensity.
I think
Where in the heck are you?
That's right.
How's that sound?
Sounds
to
good.
me.
Do it.
Write it out, Diamondback, and then, if you will, we'll close out the episode with you saying it in the way you're going to convey it to them, like with the intentions and everything
Yeah.
in mind.
I'm gonna
And
move.
then I'll narrate.
I'm gonna move the phrase "magically dark" to closer to the beginning, because it's not just magically dark in the Stonewall City where we are.
Yeah.
So
Edge of magic dark. Edge of magic dark.
okay, so Diamondback casts the spell. Probably like his eyes go pure white, or they roll up into his head or something, something creepy. And he sends to Yoshka, "We're in the hole, above ground, magically dark. 6 hours walk from edge. Entered same place as you, in Stonewall City. Where are you?" And he will have, at this moment, 25 words to send back to me.
That's right. You all hear Diamondback saying this. This is a thing he utters aloud. And as he said, his eye sort of glassed over white in this dim light. And he sort of is leaning forward, speaking intensely into nothing. And that's where we'll end this episode. Thanks for playing, and thank you, listeners, for listening. If you'd like to find out more about the Starfall Collective or the stories we're telling, please visit thestarfallcollective.com.